that they remember.
That's right. Well, hey there. We just started. Welcome to Bloomerang TV. I just hit record maybe too early. That's okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. If you follow Bloomerang, you know that we like some controversial ideas. We like to mix it up. We like to put things out there that maybe people don't necessarily agree with, and we like to create a forum for that discussion to happen. So that being said, I've got a controversial guest a little bit here, and I think that's self-described. Mike Browne. He's from Browne Innovation Group. Mike, how's it going? Thanks for being here.
Hey, Stephen, great.
You're not really that controversial of a guy, but I would say you are kind of bearish on direct mail in fundraising. Would that be a fair statement to say?
I think bearish is very, very accurate. I mean, here's the thing. You remember that Geico commercial with the guy living under the rock?
Yes.
I mean, look, honestly, there is no upward trend in direct mail. I mean, look at any trend line you want to pick. I mean, anything with any fundraiser that's out there. The only upward trend line is the cost of postage.
Right.
Of course, all that does is compress margins. And again, I'm not just some guy talking off the cuff. I'm a 62-year-old direct marketing veteran who ran a mail order company, ran a large agency. I mean, I get this, but clearly we are in the declining years of direct mail. And unless we understand that and deal with that, we have to wonder about the future.
Do you think, I think, there's a lot of nonprofits obviously who are benefiting from direct mail, but this downward trend I think is somewhat undeniable. What do you think the problem is? Would you recommend people just cut cold turkey, or maybe try some new things to sort of slowly build up and take over direct mail? And I know you've written a lot, and you have discussions with people on comments on blog posts and things like that. What do you think people should do about this, in your opinion?
Well, obviously, I'm a Clayton Christensen acolyte. Clayton Christensen is a professor from Harvard who wrote the book, The Innovator's Dilemma. And basically what he said, Stephen, is that when an innovation comes along, you have three choices. You can do nothing, and I don't recommend that choice. You can literally take the innovation and attempt to transform your whole company, your whole organization. And then the third option is to take the innovation, put it out here in a startup, and let it grow and compete directly back with your business model. It's absolutely stupid to quit doing something that's working. I mean, nobody is advocating that. And of course, that's what we're talking about with direct mail. But at the end of the day, you have to have a plan B in this world, because everything has changed. I mean, the biggest thing really wasn't the internet, although we talk about the internet a lot as being the thing that disrupts everything. From my perspective, it was Google. When Google came out, all of a sudden we could find whatever we wanted. And because we could find whatever we wanted, then all of a sudden the power shifted to us. Whether it's buying a car, buying a television, man, we can see everything out there. And that applies to nonprofits as well. People want to look at nonprofits. They want to look at the information and make their own decisions. In fact, beginning with the baby boom generation, we don't want to be sold. And with the internet today, it's information good, selling bad. You start crossing the line and just pushing transactions, you're out of luck. Besides which, everybody wants to talk about stories, right? The three key stories that people want to hear, that you want to hear, that I want to hear, that everybody from my generation on down to your generation wants to hear, is they want to hear about the people that you're helping. They want to hear about the people who are helping the people that you're helping. And then third, they also want to hear stories about themselves. They want to hear about supporters. So, I mean, the reality is that's called content marketing, and that's a rational response to the internet and to Google. And so go ahead.
Yeah, that makes sense. How would you recommend, nonprofits who are maybe been very focused on direct mail, assuming they believe everything that you say and can see that downward trend, how do they kind of get into this whole idea of content marketing and doing more of those stories that kind of generate inbound traffic rather than maybe that sort of outbound push that direct mail represents?
Well, I mean, that's really a good point, because the whole thing really has changed. In the traditional marketing realm that we all grew up with, not necessarily people in your generation, because you just remember computers and the internet. People my age, who for the most part are running organizations, we're immigrants into this world. I mean, we've had to just come into this. So one of the things that we have to understand is that we have to kind of figure out how to transition what we're doing in learning into the whole realm of the internet. And obviously content marketing is a part of that. But kind of when you talk about traditional marketing, you're talking about pushing messages out, whether it's direct mail or anything else. When you talk about content marketing, it's pulling people to your content, which is what they want. They want it when they want it, when they want it, meaning they want to go out and they'll find it themselves, and they're going to make up their own minds in what they're doing, which is a natural lead in to what I'm passionate about and talking about even in your industry, which is CRM. I talk to some of the biggest nonprofits in the United States. I also talk to some of the smallest. And every time I bring up CRM, they see CRM and database as the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's not. The old line databases from years gone by, all they basically did was they keep information about transactions.
They're very passive systems.
Exactly, they're passive systems. CRM, and by the way, let's say what that is. It's customer relationship management. Now, of course, in the nonprofit world, we want to put our spin on it, so we say constituent relationship management. But the key word is in between. It's relationship. It's all about relationship. So with a database in a transaction-centered world of old traditional media like direct mail, what do we measure? Transactions. When you're in the CRM world where you're monitoring relationships,
mm-hmm.
What are you measuring? You're measuring the level of relationship. Just like you don't meet a girl the first time and say, hey, let's get married. There's a process.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the truth is that's exactly what's going on with nonprofits. Only today, with the technology that we have that's instantaneous and connected. I mean, we're all connected. I mean, here, this is how you and me and about everybody else stays in touch with everybody. And because of that, we can be in instantaneous contact, and we want what we want when we want it. We don't want to wait around for the other thing. So the CRM systems, of course, capture the information, but they measure the relationship. And that's what's critical, because again, I could go into algorithms here, which is another thing that I'm passionate about. The whole thing about measurement gets into algorithms. If this, then this. If this, then this. So if somebody hits a particular article on your website, then you send them this particular piece of information because obviously they're interested in that. That's where we're going. That's what content online marketing is about.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, everything you're describing is why we have the engagement meter in Bloomerang, because we want to see what is moving that meter of engagement, whether it's inbound interactions or volunteerism, all these different things that go into that. Do you think that, I feel like maybe nonprofits aren't doing this because maybe they didn't have access to the kinds of technology historically, so they had to more or less rely on the transactional methods because they didn't really have access to, not to toot Bloomerang's horn too much, but it's something like Bloomerang, a CRM, to be able to do that kind of thing. Do you think maybe that's sort of the root cause of this sort of primary focus on just transactional types of communication?
Well, I think, unfortunately, I think it goes back to, they want to get to the point where they're having support come in, financial support come in.
Yeah.
And they view that there's a back and forth. I send out mail, I get checks. I send out mail, I get checks. And that's worked forever. And in the world that I grew up in, that made all the sense in the world. But the problem is the world has shifted. And it isn't, you know, it's kind of like television and radio and all these other things. They've all been newspapers. They've all been disrupted because of the internet. It doesn't mean that there aren't radio and newspapers and direct mail out there, but fewer and fewer and fewer people are paying attention to them. And so if we're going to connect with people, well, you know, I grew up, I'm from a small town in the Midwest. And of course, you know, when you grow up in the small town in the Midwest, you go hunting and fishing, right? And you learn really early on, Stephen, if you want to shoot the ducks, you have to go where the ducks are. The ducks are online. And if we don't get that, you know, we're really in trouble. So again, shifting is about taking a model of content. In other words, information, telling stories and getting it out there, because that's what people connect with. Yep. Or don't.
Or don't.
Yeah.
Well, I hope when we post this generates even more discussion, because I think this is a really interesting topic, and I agree with all sides, and I'm not sure where exactly I stand. We tell people, you know, a multi-channel approach is good. You know, do your direct mail if it's working, certainly, but try these things, try the storytelling and the blogging and all the inbound things, and get that engagement going as well, and test, you know, and see what's happening and see what's working for your organization. But Mike, I appreciate you coming out and sharing your thoughts. I know you kind of take it on the chin in some of these comment threads, but I appreciate you being honest and open with us.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Well, it's good to talk to you, Stephen. It really is. And of course, at the end of the day, you know, I've been around. This isn't my first rodeo. And when I see big changes, you know, I just talk about them because it's about helping this industry and moving us along.
Where can people find out about you? I want them to follow your website and get in touch with you, because you guys do a lot of great work at Browne Innovation. You know,
well, thanks. Yeah, basically we started off, you know, years ago as a consultant, and now basically we do online education. So it's Browne Innovation Group, and that's Browne with an E, Browne Innovation Group, and they can check out our website. You can just Google that. There again, we're Googling, we're finding our information. So it's Browne Innovation Group, Browne with an E, and we're available online all the time.
We'll link to all that stuff. Mike, I really appreciate you hanging out with us. Interesting discussion. I hope it continues on the comment thread on this. If you're watching it on our blog, please do share your thoughts. We want to keep it going. Mike, thanks again, man. It was a lot of fun.
Good to talk to you, Stephen.
All right, we'll catch you again. And thanks to all of you for watching. We'll be back next week with another great discussion on Bloomerang TV. So we'll catch you then. Bye now.